Okay, so the point of this video is to see how I can take these quality points, documents that the field teams, the training teams gave me, and add them into ComCare application so that training agents, training supervisors, training coordinators can go into ComCare, um, select a VE, select a training agent, and fill out quality points for a specific activity. Um, so what I'll try and do is add these into the application, make the changes to the application necessary so that it's ready to deploy, and then actually deploy it. So here we go. The first step is to go into ComCare HQ and load up the proper application. The one for this season is called 2024 Formation. And we need to look at who is the audience, who is the personnel that is using these quality points, and who is the personnel that is subject to these quality points. So this one we can see in the description here. Le VE utilise the viseur. Le VE. So this is a quality points for a VE activity, and therefore it's going to be a training agent or someone else who will fill out a form. So the place where this will need to go is in this form here called VE visit. So we can go into here and check out how are the other quality points organized. So this form, you can collapse these down and see where this might go. So all these are hidden values. These aren't seen by the user. They're just used for administrative purposes, which we'll see. We'll have to adjust these later. The first question they see is the visit date. That's in its own page. Coordinates, that's also on its own page. And then they see objective. So which will be the objective here? We have formation flash training, and quality control. So flash training is usually, I think this is probably what we're going for, and we can verify. Looks like this is what it is. We probably want to do flash training. So that gives us one hint. We see the choice value here is flash. The choice value here is QC. And then down here we see two folders, flash and QC. So, and we see a display condition, objective equals flash, objective equals QC. This question has the question ID objective, so we know it's referencing this question. So if they select flash, formation flash, they'll go into this folder of questions, otherwise they'll go into this one. So assuming this is a flash training, we can open this up and see what else we got. So right now we just have two basically screens. We have one that's asking which flash training, and then one that's the actual flash training content for the selected response. So we've got here the only option up till now was farmer awareness, and that led by default to this flash training selection. So what we need to do is add another option and then duplicate this and change what we need to change so that it matches up with these quality points. So how are we going to do that? So we can take a look at what's the topic here. And I'm pretty sure we can call this what can we call this? I guess we'll call this viseur. So here in the title we have a hint. Point de qualité, flash training, viseur. So we'll call this viseur. There's only one question here that mentions visor, but I think the others are all related to components in the visor. So yeah, I think this is enough to tell me that this is a visor. So back over on my ComCare application, first I'll add an option here, add choice to quelle formation flash. And we'll call this visor. And by default, it will give me a choice value, which is the same thing I just wrote, but lowercase, and also replacing any spaces with underscores. But this is fine with me, visor, I like that. Now, what I want to do is make a second question list. This is what's called a question list. You see here, question list. I want to make a second question list that has a display condition VE flash module equals visor. So to do that, I'll press Control C with this selected, Control V, and now I duplicated that question list. So it's going to be identical. The only difference is the question ID is copy one of that. So I need to give this a different title. So the previous one was called VE flash farmer awareness. I'll call this VE flash visor, and then erase the rest of that. And we'll call this flash visor. That will be the title that's on the top of the page. And then finally, we need to change the display condition so that it's pointing at this option. All right, so we've got that changed. Next step is to modify the contents in here. So what do we have in this? We have a couple of hidden values. Then we have a label, which I don't think needs to change. This should just be the same for everything. And then quels sont les points de qualité bien respectés. So this will need to change the quality points themselves. But there's this goofy looking lookup table, so we'll need to fix that later. I'll do that next after I fix these hidden values. So what's going on here? Let's change this quality points thing from V flash farmer awareness points to V flash user points. So now that's got a different name. This also, we can change the name here. Every time we see farmer awareness, we can just change the name to visor in these hidden values. Okay. And what you'll notice is in V flash visor score, what is this doing? This is calculating the score of the quality points. So it's a formula, and it's saying count selected, and then it's referencing V flash visor points, this question. So you notice that it actually changed the name here because this is just a reference to this question. So when I changed this question's question ID, this was pointing to that node in this tree of questions. So it knew that the name changed, and it changed it for me. So that's kind of nice. So what this is doing is it's counting. This is a function that takes a checkbox style multiple choice question, counts the number of elements that have been selected, and returns that value. So if I select 1, it will return 1. If I select 0, it will return 0, etc. Then this is how you do division here. So, addition, subtraction, you just use the plus, minus, times. But division has to be div. You can't use the divided by symbol because that's, I guess, symbol is used for other things. You have to do div. That means divide by. And then this hidden value is referencing this one. Or this portion is referencing this hidden value. And what is this doing? it's giving me the max possible score of this. So that way, this question is returning me the number selected divided by the max possible score. So whether I have one quality point or 1,000, this is going to return me just a percentage, a number between 0 and 1. So it's sort of normalizing it. So that's what this does. It's giving me the score of the quality point check. So what is this now? This is actually counting the number of elements in my quality point list. So the quality points, I'm not going to write those into this application. I'm going to create a new lookup table in this ComCare HQ data section, and then point this to that new lookup table. So we see this is referencing a lookup table called VE/FA Farmer Awareness QPs. So I'm going to make a new lookup table called probably V/VZER or V/V QPs, and then point this to that lookup table, and that will display the right quality points here. And it will also give me the option of calculating the number of elements. Because actually, if I just write those in here, there's no way to actually count, like get a count of the number of options. I would have to hard code that max score in here, and I don't want to do that. So this also lets me go in and just change the lookup table if I want to modify these. I don't need to modify that everywhere where I hard coded those options in. So there's more than one good reason to use a lookup table. So I don't actually need to change this right now. I'll actually need to make a new lookup table, point this to that lookup table, and then also modify this so that it's referencing the right lookup table, because this won't automatically update itself later on. So let's just save these changes so far and go and make our lookup table. So under the data section here, you have ways to export data, modify data, and lookup tables is down here. So these are all lookup tables we made before. What we want to do, let me just find one lookup table that we've already made. And so I just selected the one, and now I'll download it. And that's downloaded. Let's open this up, see what it looks like. So once that opens, we're going to see if we can make a new lookup table, and then at the bottom of this page, you have the option of uploading Excel file to create or modify an existing lookup table. So here I can see the lookup table we just downloaded. So whenever you download lookup tables, it's going to have at least 2 sheets. The first one is called types, and then for every other lookup table you selected and downloaded, you'll actually see the contents of the lookup table over here in each in their own separate sheet. So types is just like a necessary component of this document. It defines, like, for each one of the fields in our lookup tables, what is the name of the field, and also just has the table ID. So I pretty much just want to copy the same thing, but insert the new KPI, the new quality points. So how can we do this? I don't actually need this old lookup table. I'm not trying to edit it. I just wanted to get it so I knew the format of this new one. So let's call this VE/VZER QPs. And one probably smart thing to do would be to make sure that I know there's a limit to the number of characters this can be, and I can't remember what it is, but that could create an error later. So one thing I could do is just create this lookup table first. And even if I go over the limit, it might not even tell me. I just will try and create it and it won't show me the list for some reason. So it's a little bit annoying. But there it is. So, and it looks like it's shorter than these other ones. So just note that there is some limit to how long the title of these lookup tables can be. So I created that. I'm just going to copy over that in a second, so it doesn't matter. That was just a test to see that I'm not breaking the limits of how long it can be. So this is telling it what is the name of the lookup table. Am I trying to delete it? If I were trying to delete a lookup table, I could do this. But by leaving that blank or putting n, I'm saying that I'm not trying to delete it. Is global. It's possible to hide lookup tables entirely from certain users or restrict who can view certain rows even. And so in that case, I would put no, but I do want everybody to see this, so that's okay. And then these are the different columns in my lookup table I'll have. So the first one is just an ID, and the second one is the actual text of the lookup table. So this is looking good. Now I need to take the title of this new lookup table and put that into the name of the sheet down here, and then modify the actual text here to match what we want. So UID is the unique ID of the current elements in this lookup table we downloaded. But we want to delete that because we're actually making a new lookup table with new elements that didn't exist before. So when you leave them blank, that tells ComCare that we're trying to make new lines, new rows in our lookup table. So now the thing to do is just to go back and forth between our document here and copy the text over. So I see there's like kind of two elements here. I've got during the coaching flash training and then during ag trainings. So I think there was a lookup table where I had to deal with this sort of thing and format it in a certain way. Let me just check to see what that looks like here. If I look up tables that have QPs, I think it was this one. No, it was this one. So this means training supervisor, quality control, group training. If I look at this lookup table, they had something similar going on where there are certain quality points that related to before the training, certain ones that related to during the training, and then certain that related to after the training. And I added that as sort of a prefix, I don't know what you call this, before the actual element itself. And these stars, this is actually formatting, so it will format this part in bold when it's actually displayed in ComCare. So I think I'll use something similar to this for my current lookup table. So just put down here as an example. All right, so do run coaching flash training. So copy this text first, paste this in here, and then this is going to be the first part. Of my table element, and then the actual content here is going to be this. Do run the coaching flash training. So this will be the beginning of each one, and then there will be the actual quality point there. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got 7. So I can just copy this to the first 4, and the rest we're going to have a different, turn on the form watching how be called. And all right, so we've got the first part there. Don't need this anymore. And then I can just copy the actual text from these quality points. So I think I already did this one. Yeah. Number 2. Number 3. Oops. Number 4. I'm going to pause the video while I do the rest of this. Alright, so I just finished up entering the text into each one of these, and now this lookup table is ready to be uploaded. So I'll save this and I can close that now. And back here in Manage Tables, I want to upload that and replace existing tables. I would not check this if I was trying to just add new rows to the table, which I guess I could do because this is blank, but I'll just replace it because there's nothing there of value. Okay, that's done. Next is back in this application builder, I will need to change this to be the title of the new lookup table. So let's just search these there. I can get exactly the same text. So this is just a formula for, yeah, hunting down the content of of a given lookup table and counting the elements in it. So replace the name there. The second one, be careful, it has this underscore list at the end after the full name of the quality points, and then this last one is again just the name of the quality points. So next I want to change this to point at the new lookup table, and you'll notice that it's not there. So in order for me to be able to see it, I just need to refresh this page. So I'll save that first, then refresh. So now, if I go down to this, it takes a second for it to load and find all the lookup tables. Okay, now it's there, and now I can see that lookup table visible. So the rest of these shouldn't need to change. This is just saying this is actually has access to the columns in the lookup table I just made. So it's asking me of those columns that are in there, which one will be the value. So like when they submit this form and we download the data under this column, wherever this data is going to be, what value is it going to return? And I don't want it to return the entire text because there's just a lot of data when all I really need is a number. Like I can always take the number and map that to the text later on. So no need to get any more, no need to store any more than just the ID of that. But then what am I displaying to the user? Like what is going to be one of the options in the checkbox? Well, that has to be the text. And then same thing, sorting. That could be either the ID or the text actually, but I think it's probably better to use the text. So yeah, that's it. There's no filtering going on here. Normally you can filter lookup tables, like if I wanted to filter based on some content in it. I could do that actually, like just have every single lookup table be in one, or every single quality points be in one single lookup table. That would actually really simplify this. Maybe I'll do that soon. Then I could just always have every single quality points be pointing at the same lookup table, and then just set a filter. That way I wouldn't need to change any of this. I would need to change this. I would have to change this to point to filter this down to a certain. Anyway, that's something maybe to improve this in the future, but I don't think it's so difficult to do at this point. So that's done. All right, so what have I done so far? I've added the option for the new quality point formation flash here, and then I created the actual new, where am I? Yeah, created the new list of quality points here. And next, before I can call this form done, I need to go and make sure that there's a couple things I need to modify in these hidden values. So just looking through what each of these do, this is used for setting, where this visit form is going to be owned. Doesn't really concern me now. Either does this, nor this, nor this. But this one, points, this one I'll need to do something to, and score as well. I think those are the two that I'll need to do something on. So the idea here is, at the end of this form, what I want there to be is there's one single case list actually that has every single visit done by a field team personnel with another field team personnel, like a training agent with a VE, or a training supervisor with a training agent, or something. They're all just adding a record to a giant visits table. And I wanted there to be a column called objective, where I can see which type of visit is this, and also if it's a training, flash training, which type of flash training it is, and if it's a QC visit, which type of QC visit. So that way I could filter that down really simply and make a dashboard off of, even if it's different types of activities I'm trying to view. But I also wanted the actual outcome, the score, and maybe the specific quality points. I want those to all be, regardless of the visit type or the objective or whatever, I want it all to be in just one single column. So I have this hidden value called points and score, which are going to basically, regardless of which path they took through the form, regardless of which objective or which quality point list they filled out, all of the quality points and score are going to filter into these two values. So how do we do this? Let's look at points first. This coalesce is a function used for, you can give it multiple different values, and it's going to go through each one and check and see, is there something in there? Is it null or not? And the first one that isn't null, that's the one it's going to keep. So it's going to check and see, is there content in the V farmer awareness points thing? If not, then we'll move on to the next one. If not, then we'll move on to the next one. So what we can do is just insert our list of quality points question right in there. So this is it right here, V flash visor points, and then save that. So that's been inserted in. If this is the one they chose to do, then that's the one we'll get. And then score, there's something similar happening. So it's instead of looking at the list of quality points, this one's just looking at the score. So I need to go find the score value for this 1 and drop that in there. That way, regardless of the activity, regardless of the quality point type, I'm going to have one column with the score. So, and then what the extra stuff outside of the coalesce here is just allowing me to have a nice round number to display as my score. Because if I do a weird division like 5 divided by 7, if they get 5 out of 7, it's probably going to be a really long, a lot of decimal points, more than I want, and I really just want 2. I just want, instead of like 0.71111 and repeating, I just want 0.71. And so this takes my value, multiplies by 100, then rounds it, so chopping off everything after the decimal point. So if I have 0.7111 repeating, this is going to change it to 71.1111 repeating, and then chop it down to just 71 with this round, and then divide 71 by 100. So then I'll get 0.71, and that's it. So that's a way of rounding a really long decimal point to just however many significant digits you want. All right, so I added that. That's done. And everything else here I shouldn't have to touch. This is just adding a percentage onto the end of my score for display purposes. This is calculating a new average based on this, taking all the other scores we've done, the number of visits we've done, calculating a new average based on this new score, converting that to a string with a percentage point. Nothing we need to change here. So this is done in terms of changes we need to make for this Flash training. Next, we're not done yet. We have to go into the settings for this form and do a few things. All right, so now we're in the settings for the vVisit form. And under this case management section, I need to tell ComCare explicitly what to do with the responses from this survey. So right now what it's doing is saving a couple hidden values, number of visits and average score, to the personnel case list. So when they first do this form, they're selecting which personnel, so in this case a VE, which VE. So we've selected the personnel case, and it's going to update 2 properties in that case, visits done and average score, with the newly calculated ones that are happening within this form. So for visits done, it's just iterating, incrementing that value by 1, increasing by 1. And then average score, we just saw that there's a hidden value where it's recalculating a new average score for that VE. But then down here in the purple section, in addition to updating values in the personnel case list, it's also creating a new case record in a different case list. So the visit case list is getting one new record added onto it. And here in the background, it's going to record the parent record of this visit. So it's like a foreign key from the visit table over to the personnel table. So there will be a column indicating to which personnel this visit was done with. We don't see that here. That just happens in the background when you do this open child case feature. So, but what we do need to say is, all right, in this new case list, in visit case list, which questions we want to save to which property of a visit. So what we have here is name, visit date, GPS coordinates of the visit, the objective of the visit, which Flash training module it was, and so on. So what we need to save is the quality points from the new activity that we just added. So I can do that by finding the question, quels sont les points d'égalité bien respectés, but instead of the one located under form/v/v/farmer awareness, we want to do the one that's under visor. So add property, and then find that one. It's not here. You can see this question is in there twice under two different folders. So this is the one we want that has visor. And I can just leave that, have the same name. This by default, it just gives the name of the property that matches the question ID, and that's fine with me. And I think this is it. I think that's all we need to add at this point. Everything else, it's already saving the quality points. It's already saving the score, everything. We just needed to add that one extra question. We really only added one question to this form. Everything else was just hidden values and labels. So these are the actual quality points for that specific activity that we just added. Now I can save this, and I'm not done. I actually need to copy the contents what we just did over to a separate form and make some similar changes over here under modifier visite. So why do I need to do that? Well, the way this app works is, let's see if we can log in as somebody and see what this looks like from their perspective. Okay, so what I want to do is load up this preview app here while I'm under 2024 formation and log in as somebody from the field. This is a training agent. And when I log in with them, I can synchronize to make sure I'm getting the correct data, latest data. Especially that's important for the new lookup table that we just made, because if I don't synchronize, it might have cached like some older version of the target list or the lookup tables and give me an error. So now that I synchronized, now I can go into this person's app interface and click on the V folder, and now I see all the V's that they've visited so far, and we see the names of the V, their village, and then their average score that they've gotten so far. So if I click into one of these, essentially what I'm doing now is selecting one of the V's from the personnel case list. What we're looking at is the case list personnel underscore TR underscore 2024. So we're selecting the personnel case list, and then now we're going to be presented with a this case list actually, which is a different case list, visit TR 2024. So we're getting an error. Maybe it's just a connection issue. Okay, so here we are, but I didn't actually get any data back. I wonder why that is. Could be that somebody else filled out these forms. But anyway, here's somebody where now I've picked a V, and now I'm seeing a different case list. This is visit TR 2024. And I've got one visit recorded. So there's one visit on the visit case list associated with the VE, the personnel case record that we just selected. So if I were to hit this button, it's actually linked to this form that we just modified. So it's going to fill out this, it's going to access this form, we'll fill it out, and the result of that form will be to update the personnel case list, these records here, but then also create a new item in the VE, or the visit case list. But then I can also click on this visit that's already been done. So what is this doing? If I click on that, Now I'm seeing a form modifier visite. So this is not the vvisit form. This is actually this form right here. So if I click on that, I'm seeing the same content as the form we just saw, date de visite. So I see a date from a few days ago. I see QC already selected. So all this stuff is already selected. So I didn't fill these out, like these were already there. It was actually the field team member who did this. But what's happening here is I've accessed that case record and it's displaying me the results that were already filled out. So essentially it's like accessing the record on the visit TR 2024 case list, inputting those into the questions, inputting the data that was in those fields into these questions, and then giving me the opportunity to modify them if I wanted. So let's say actually I gave the wrong score, or I put in the wrong date initially, I could go back and fix that here. That's the idea. And that would actually update the record, update their average score if I change the score, and so on. So we want to give them this opportunity to view their case records and potentially modify if need be. So in order to allow that feature to work, we have to have this basically second version of the form that's not a, so this is this original vvisit form that we made. This is actually a follow-up form on the personnel case list, but that also opens a subcase, a child case in the visit 2024 case list. You can see that here in this description. So, but what this modified visit is, this is just a follow-up form updating a visit TR 2024 case record. So unfortunately, I can't like make both those reference the exact same form, so they don't have to manage two of the same question lists every time. So I have to, whenever I make a change to this, I have to also remember to go and make a change to modifier visite. So it's not too complicated though, now that I've actually already made the changes to this one. So the easiest way to modify modifier visite or update modifier visite is to open up both of these, the one I just changed, and then open up this new one that I want to change. So you can see it looks really similar. It's slightly different on top here, but here's what we need to do. So go into the original form that I made just now, grab the question list that I just added. Actually, first I can grab the option that I just added, copy that, Control C, and then come in here and paste it. And then now grab the question list that I added, copy that, and then collapse this one and paste it right after. You have to collapse it because otherwise it will actually insert it into this question list. When it's collapsed, it'll place it after it. So then this is fine. So you get this error message here, but it's actually going to go away if you just click in and reselect these, the same exact one. I don't know why that happens. Otherwise, it's still exactly the same thing. And then I also need to make those same kinds of modifications I did up here in these hidden values. So here I needed to add the quality points from this question, save that, and then also add the score to this coalesce function from the new one. And that should be it. So actually it's not it. So there's one more thing here. As we just saw, when they open this form, it preloads, it shows the values that they previously entered in the form here. How is that working? Well, when you click into one of these questions, you see under default value, we have something in here. So we didn't have that for the initial visit form that we updated, or we modified over here. But for all these ones, we do have a default value. So default value just means when they first encounter this question, what is it going to show? And you could write in something. You could put like a string of text or a number or something. But what we're actually putting is a case property. So we saw these blue things, these blue boxes. These are referencing some other node in this question, in this form. But then the gray ones, these are referencing a property of the case. And so we have access to all those down here. We have access to all the case properties from the parent case that they'll be working with in this app, in this form. And we also have access to the case record itself. So, and what we have showing here by default is the visit date selected when they first fill out this form. So when they fill out this form, in the settings here, we're saying save the content of that question, visit date, to the case property visit date. And so we can see that right here under visit TR 2024, we have a property called visit date. So this is storing the response from that original form. So what we're saying is, in this modified visit form, which is more or less a copy of this one, by default, insert the visit date from the original form for this case record. So that's what it's doing. So every one of these just has, by default, the property that contains the data that they originally filled out. So we just need to make sure in any question that we added in here, like this one, we need to have a default value representing the right data. Otherwise, it will be blank. So, for example, this is the one that was there before, the farmer awareness flash training. You see that this has a default value, and it's the quality points that we had saved from this form. And so here, we need to display by default the quality points from that question in the original form. So you can find that pretty easily by just filtering down here, the flash user points, and drag and drop that into there and save. So it's good to it's good to click out of that and then go back into it and make sure it actually worked, because sometimes it doesn't work. Like you saw me put it in there. I had that recorded now and I saved it, but it didn't actually save it. So you might just have to do it a couple times. I thought it was crazy for a while, but it really is just a bug here. So I did it a second time and now it saved it. I saved it, it's saved. I go out of it and I go back into it and it's there. So I'm glad I finally caught that on camera. All right, so maybe it's best to just refresh too and make sure that it worked. Yeah, so I refreshed and it's still there. One thing to note, maybe if you didn't notice, this question is not checked as required. And that's because somebody could, in theory, fail on every single quality point, and therefore you wouldn't check any of them. And so their score would be 0. So that's why this is not required, even though pretty much all the other questions are required. Okay, so that's fine. Now, the very last step here for these forms is I added a new question on this form, so I need to also go and save the content of that property, of that question, to the corresponding property. So clicking into the settings for modified visit form, and you'll notice that these are not in that purple section because I'm no longer creating a new child case. I'm just updating a case. I'm just updating the record from the visit case list. So I just need to do something similar to what this question is and update the case property v/v0 points. So let me just search v0. No, it doesn't work. I'll just search for it. I know where it is. There's not that many things in here. It's right there. Calculate only point de qualité bien respecté v/v0 points. And it already knows, like, it knows about the properties that are associated with this case. So if I start to delete this, it's going to propose, oh, do you mean update this case property that already exists? Yes, that is what I mean. So, but that's the only question we added. We just modified a couple other questions, like the coalesce functions and the score function. But there's no need to save something new because those are already being saved right here and right here. So remember to save it here, and now that's done. So in order for these changes to be seen by the field team, we actually have to also deploy these changes. Of course, best practice to test this first. So we just made these changes. I would like to go in and make sure that I can actually see these and that they look correct to me. So I will log in as somebody. It's kind of important to log in as somebody or have your own username with some test cases, test personnel, so that you can actually view some cases. Because you have to select a case record in order to create a visit, and if you're just using your default web username, you probably won't have any cases assigned to you. So let's try and do a visit with this VE. Make sure we can see the new option. Yep. So we have Nimiku, which is the first flash training, and then V0, which is the one we just added. And we see the quality points we just put in, including that formatting that we set up with the 2 stars on each side of the header, or the prefix. So these are obligatory to enter in here. And the score looks to be correctly calculating. Brought down their average a little bit. Poor score. Finally comments, and then complete. But I won't complete that because I don't actually want to do that. But probably best practice to have some test personnel actually submit that form, and then also test out this modify visit form as well, so you can be sure that that's working and you're displaying the right values, they're updating and stuff like that. I can also just go into a previously submitted form and I should be able to see all the same stuff because I also modified this modifier visit form. So I see that all here as well. So, all right. So next, just need to make a new version with these changes. And you can see I've been bad about adding comments of what I changed from each version to the next. So I'll try and be better and say what it is you did, say what it is you changed in this form every time you actually make a new version. Okay, so that finished. And in order for this to be visible, I need to click on released. And then now if somebody on their phone hits update app, it will locate and offer to download and install version 403. So here I'll just add in added quality points for the flash training user. All right, I think that's about it. Next, I have 2 other lists of quality points to also do. This one is for agents. This one also is for agents. So in this case, for these other quality points, the only difference really is that I'm aiming for a different form. This one we just did is related to VE visits. This one is related to training agent visits. So if you see here, we have nearly the identical structure of application going on. The only differences are there, under objective, there is no flash training. We only have QC. Flash training really only applies to VEs. So they're pretty much only ever going to select that for now. Maybe someday they'll do something else. And then we have formation group. That's the only activity in here currently. And I have a feeling that this isn't a change to what's already on there. I'll have to check the quality points table in Manage Visit, but I think this is just exactly the same. This is just the ag training quality points, and they don't change from one training event to the next. So I'll have to verify that, and if so, then there's nothing to change for this one. But this one does look new. So this looks like a new. So this is quality points on the ag trainer or V trainer. Ideally, so this situation is a supervisor visiting an agent who is visiting a VE. The agent is training the VE, and the supervisor is watching the agent train the VE and observing them and evaluating them based on these quality points. So then the supervisor is going to fill out a form saying whether the agent met the quality points. So everybody's being observed, everybody's being evaluated, everybody's being visited pretty much. And we need to have these forms for everybody all the way up the chain as far as we have time to go. So yeah, this one does look new. I'll probably have to add an activity type here, which is formation flash. Because it's a QC, it's a quality control on a formation flash activity. So, and then I'll have to create a second module here called formation flash visor or something like that. Because these are specific to a specific flash training. And yeah, basically make the same kinds of changes. Add the new question list, go and create the new lookup table for the new with the new quality points, link those up to that lookup table, update the points hidden values and the score hidden values, save those to properties on this personnel list and visit list, and then finally go into the training agent modifier visite form and then copy the changes I made from here over to there and make the same changes to those hidden values and then save those to the properties, and then I'll be done with that one, and then I can deploy those. So pretty similar process. I think if you watch this video and study that, you could do something similar to any one of the other personnel types and visit types. All right, good luck.